Since the time when children were first ready to throw themselves at the concrete like blocks of cheese to a grater, companies have been ready to make a profit off that. Today we're talking about one of the many gifts that board sports have given us over the years. We're talking about the board sports mini game. You'll find these board sports mini games all over, and all sorts of different designs too. It's even Just Cause 4, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Zelda Breath of the Wild, just to name a few. They obviously became very popular after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Hi, I'm Tony Hawk.
After Tony Hawk's Pro Skater came out, you'd see these things all over, these board sports mini games. Great game though, but that's not the point. Any game that has a board sports mini game function, you've already won me over. You've got me. Game devs, if you can put that in your games, you're gonna win idiots like me over like that. Just day one, we're in. I think it adds a huge element to the game, and it's kind of interesting to see how different people do it. And you have people like Nintendo who just do it very simply, but very elegant, still very fun. You have people like Insomniac who create this large course style event sort of thing, competition. It feels like there's a world around it, kind of like almost like the motocross of Ratchet and Clank or something like that, you know.
Surfing.
Discovered by Captain Cook. And Captain Cook was rolling on this boat. He's rolling on this ship. It's his third voyage. He's getting a little tired. And he spots some dudes in the distance, some sexy bastards, just riding some waves. And he's thinking, these dudes can really shred. That dude looks like he's having a great time. I'm gonna write that down. So he writes it down. He ends up kicking it with those guys for about a year until, this part's debatable, he either burned down a temple.
It was my mistake.
For firewood.
And I'm sorry.
He was mistaken for that thing from Crash Bandicoot. And they killed him. One thing's for sure, he died. His notes made it back. Thanks for writing down about those rad dudes. By the end of the 1800s, students began to travel from Hawaii and spread their love of surfing across the world, and even charge rich tourists and things like that for surfing lessons. Probably the beginning of the commercialization of surfing. Cut to New York, 1929. Things are depressing. Parents can't find food. Children can't find jobs. Now, those kids are looking for anything fun to keep their minds off the facts that they can't work right now. While they're looking for something to distract themselves from their crushing reality, a new contender emerges, kind of. I mean, I guess it was developed earlier in Germany. In 1817, it was developed in Germany. You know, people started to just kind of make them out of trash because they didn't really have anything else. So in around the 1950s, surfers began getting tired of the weather deciding when they couldn't enjoy their hobby. They would take roller skate wheels and put them on just wooden boards. Handsome surfers weren't the only ones trying new things at this time. In 1958, American physicist and old-timey game dev William Higginbotham coded the first video game, Tennis for Two. It released to rave reviews but was later pulled from the eShop. It was never intended to be a commercial title. It was more of a test and a showcase of what the technology could do at that time.
The concept was still fair game.
72, Atari starts hitting them with the Pong.
72, we put it in a box, put it up on the barrel.
It was an immediate hit. We weren't aware of just how much of a hit it was until we got a service call and found that the coin box had totally filled up and wouldn't take any more quarters. Those are the kind of technical problems that we could solve.
That was his second business venture. After he was kind of pushed out or resigned, whatever did happen with Nolan Bushnell and Atari, Atari kind of fell apart without him. A group of four sprang off and actually created Activision. And Nolan Bushnell went on to create Chuck E. Cheese, of all things.
I was driving past the Chuck E. Cheese and...
Large cheese pizza?
Yep.
Okay.
The cuts are going to be perfect. The cuts didn't line up.
I had no idea that Nolan Bushnell had anything to do with Chuck E. Cheese. Not only did employees of Nolan Bushnell's at Atari spring off to create Activision, I believe that one sprung off to create EA as well.
In 1988, the ultimate video sports game franchise was born. Madden's success proved that sports could be very, very good for EA. And it has, giving birth to a whole subdivision within the company.
And I don't think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater would have been accepted as commercially viable if it didn't already show to be profitable with John Madden's sports games. These are not people that you would think were connected. William Hickenbotham to Captain Cook to John Madden. But without all of their contributions, we probably would not see the board sports minigame as what it is today. I mean, that's just one man's opinion. These board sports minigames, they mean a lot to us. Whether it's, back in the 90s when it first started, early 2000s when it first started, or all the way to 2020, you still have a lot of games still putting in these board sports minigames, and it's not going to stop. Okay, they're going to keep going, and I'm all for it. I'm psyched on it. The contribution these games have had has pushed the sport to new extremes in the past by inspiring boarders like Tony Hawk to attempt to push current boundaries after seeing games like 720 at a young age.
Hi, I'm Tony Hawk.
And next, one of the most recent ones that I want to talk about, at least in depth, is the shield surfing in Zelda Breath of the Wild. I really like this because it's a defensive tool, and you kind of use it, you can at least, to escape in some situations. So it kind of remains what it is, a defensive tool, but it adds a whole element to the game. The durability kind of gets on my nerves sometimes, but that's just everything in that game. You know, everything's got a durability rating. I mean, I've played it through 2 or 3 times, so I'm obviously not that upset about it, but I like the way they handled it. The only reason I don't like it is the durability thing, just because, like, let's say you do have a shield, you can surf on it for a while, but then it just shatters, and you can only hold like probably 3 or 4 shields at first on the Great Plateau. So it's something that as you get further in the game, you kind of get to utilize more. You kind of have to think wisely about how you use it. But nonetheless, they did an amazing job, and I'm glad they put shield surfing in the game. I don't think the game would have been exactly the same without it. Then again, they did add a dirt bike, which kind of makes shield surfing obsolete to a degree, except in the desert, so no, I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong. Whosever idea it was to put shield surfing in is a goddamn genius, and I thank them for that. But yeah, there's mini games that I didn't really go in depth about. They had a mini game in Kingdom Hearts in 2002, Attacking the Power of Juju. They had a snowboarding mini game. I believe Bully had a skateboarding mini game. The list goes on, and I'm sure there's a bunch I missed as well, because it seems like after the year 2000 hit, everybody was throwing these into their games, and like I said before, I do not have a problem with it. It's great. But how do you guys feel about the board sports minigame? If there's anything you have to add to this conversation, please comment below. Subscribe if you enjoy videos like this and like it, so I know to make more in the future. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Goodbye.
Thanks, Sheriff Mayor TV.
Saved my life.
The rest of you, if you want to make me feel better, you can go subscribe to
Sheriff Mayor TV.